Oh, I'll tell you what. I've started. Well, I got base coating done.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I'm trying that. I'll tell you what I go about. I'll tell you. I'm recording. I don't care. I've got that. I've done that top down spray method that Eons talks about. Where
Oh,
so you
the
do black
Zenithal
and then you do the white on the top, so it gives you like light
for
sourcing.
highlight.
And I'll tell you what. I'm kind of thinking, why the hell did I not know about this back in the day? Because it does
You see,
provide you really good sort of. Oh yeah, you need to highlight here. You need to highlight there.
yeah,
It's like
that's like it
genius.
kind of reminds yeah, because there's the Zenithal and then there's the slap chop method where they kind of dry brush the same thing and it
Yeah.
picks up all the thingos and then obviously from there you can do
Yeah,
certain
I
things.
think tradition. I mean, I didn't call it slap chop because obviously I'm old school. I think it's just because we just called it dry. It was just dry brushing and dipping. But yeah, it's pretty much the same damn thing. But yeah, but
But it
this
works better.
Zenithal method, I quite like. I'm about to say I'm looking forward to. I'm about to say I'm gonna fire up the my new airbrush. I'm gonna try it out because I was actually I was stopped by Hobby Master to get some green stuff and they had some paints on sale because obviously they're discontinuing them from Games Workshop, and they're the airbrush
Oh,
ones, and
really?
it's funnily enough yellow and orange, which is what I'm gonna need. I was like, oh well, we'll give it a shot. Because I think if I don't paint it if I don't think I'll be buying any more Tyranids because I don't like Gribblies, but
See,
I'm gonna make
I,
these look
I
really
originally
good,
wanted the
and then
Tyranid
I'll
army.
sell them. Is what I'm planning to do. I figured I'll
Yeah.
make them look damn good, and then I can sell them, and then I'll be fine. Is the plan.
Yeah, see, I always wanted a Tyranid army
Fine,
because there was
I'll send it to you then. You can have it.
no 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 don't do that.
Dorks down under.
Because your color scheme sucks. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
The audacity! You'll love. I'm about to say. I'm actually. Or to be fair, what I should do is take photos now, and then I'll because I'm part of the Eons of Battle Discord, and lots of people do post up there. Please be
Oh yeah,
gentle
because then
with me. Please be gentle with me. And I'm like, oh, should I? I don't want to be that kind of guy though. But I'm like, oh, should I?
to be fair though, it is good because I must say groups like that. I one thing I do love about the community is groups like that.
Hmm.
It is kind of cool because there are people that quite often I'm to this day I'll say it to this day so far I've never had anyone go, oh that's shit. Most of them are like, oh that's awesome. Have you tried to do this or maybe add some
Yeah.
highlights to here? And 9 times out of 10 they give some pretty good
I tell
advice.
you, I'm
And
going to be interested to see because obviously I haven't paint. I mean, I haven't touched paints in 9 years. Nine
yeah,
years now. I haven't touched any painting since Eddie was born. So but I've been doing my research and especially with this airbrush thing and methods and trying. I'm going to be interested to see how. Is it like riding a bike, Dennis? Is it still all up here?
I don't
Dennis?
know, like
Why do I call you Dennis? Dennis. Sorry,
I'm like Dennis the Menace.
Dennis
Oh,
the
I love.
Menace. But yeah, anyway. Ah, right. Anyhow, should we? How about say? Let's get to our episode, shall we? Anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm
Well,
joined by I'm Jordan, joined by your host Dennis, and the new guy from
welcome,
Dogs Down
welcome
Under.
back to Dogs Down Under, season 2, episode 27. We are obviously available on all good podcast apps, as well as our viewing faces are available on Spotify and YouTube. Please make sure you follow us at Dogs Down Under. We're available on socials on TikTok as well as Twitter. Thank you very much for those who do subscribe,
If I
like,
have an
share,
episode while
everything
you're
else.
away, mate, I'm gonna forget all that stuff. I always forget
Do I
stuff.
have to write the script down? This
No,
is
no,
how
like
you do
I
it.
I always feel awkward plugging stuff. Like I don't know, like I do that same with with my website and stuff. I just feel a bit awkward. Like I don't know, like you know what I mean. Like I just like no. But you can subscribe if you want, kind of thing. Like I don't know, I just
Oh,
feel awkward asking
it,
people.
look, I've always just found it's easy just to plug it at the start, plug it at the end, job done. That's it. Don't need to mention
Yeah.
it. I hate it when you're watching something on YouTube or something like that, and then it's like go through, and then we're just gonna stop right now just so we can do the plot. I thought, oh God, no, not now. I don't. I'm not. I'm watching your stuff right now. I'm interested. I'm invested. I don't care. And literally, you just look. If they've got chapter set up, I skip it. I don't even look at it. God, you little sod. There we go. Fly.
That's one good thing about those chapters. Is the good thing about chapters is supposedly it helps you rank better in and as well because people can search by the chapters. So if they search like Transformers Rise of the Plot Hole,
Although,
and
can we just say, YouTube, can we set it up so chapters works for videos that are longer than an hour? That's the only goddamn problem we have. Is that no, if it's longer than an hour, you can't set up chapters. It's stupid.
Because what I do with Cherish's videos is in the actual body underneath.
No. So that's how I used to always do it. But the problem is, if your video goes over an hour, it won't segregate at all. And I looked it up, and they said, "Oh no, you've got to use the automatic chapters feature." All right, fine, fair dues. I'll let YouTube do it. Nope, YouTube can't handle it.
It's like, bro, we got this. YouTube, we can
fix this. We got it. Let's go. And it's like, no, we can't do it. Oh, fucking idiots. Anyway,
we ain't got it.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
let's make this episode go like a flash.
Yes, as Dez's bad puns has just come in. We are discussing the new Flash. Well, is it new? Yeah, newish. It's been out a little bit.
I think it's just been released on streaming services recently. So
yeah,
it was weird because it was kind of at the movies for a bit, and then it's kind of gone straight to streaming services.
Yeah. So
this is the movie that supposedly James Gunn has said it is mind blowing. It will change your thing. It will be DC's thingo, and yeah, that's what he said.
Well, why do I feel like you keep telling me to watch movies? Des, it feels like you keep setting me up because I feel like I'm being the bad guy. I don't want to be the bad guy.
No.
Why do you keep setting me up? Right, okay.
That's the thing though, I can't, it's more because these movies are going to be, or meant to be, really big things. To be fair, I could have more than happily, like I said last week, made you watch Super Volcano or things like that.
Absolutely.
And to be fair,
absolutely no, we're not getting wrong. We're not. No. Absolutely.
I want you asked me to pick a series. I'm picking the Sharknado series. You got to watch all 5 of them.
Okay.
And then hopefully with a cocaine shark one will come out like we spoke about yesterday. So # cocaine shark, Sharknado.
No.
Because that would just be hilarious. Can you imagine a coked out friggin' bull shark just going around?
Imagine a coked out great white.
Yeah, but bull sharks are more aggressive. That's why I think we need that.
I know, but great whites, have you seen the size of how big they get? You just imagine that thing on cocaine. Terrifying.
The Meg 3. Cocaine Meg.
Cocaine Meg. Oh my god, that would be hilarious. Anyway, back in the vibe. Right, so we're discussing the Flash movie. Now, I will say this, right? Okay, I am not a huge DC fan. I'm not even, like, comics-wise, I've never been a huge DC fan. However, I love the Flashpoint. Yes. They did, especially the DC animated universe, when they did Flashpoint, which was immense. And it was great.
DC's animated films are next level.
They're immense, and the fact that Warner Bros. Has shut them down now, idiots.
I don't get that at all. I was like, what? Because that's the thing, though. One thing that I always found is, and one thing that I always loved was the DC comics. Like even then, like I just recently watched. I think it was Warworld was one that I just watched from them that just came out recently, and I think that's what it was.
Warworld.
Yeah, it's a new one. It just came out.
I have to look that one up. Yeah, you talk. I'll look.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing though. Their whatchamacallit, their movie universe has been absolute trash. And the funny thing is you speak to anybody, and all these people are talking about how the DC movies, how they love them, how this. There was even a guy that I saw on Instagram the other day saying the Batman animated series and the Superman animated series, just make that, but in the movie thing. Even keep the storylines, because for some reason their cartoon storylines have depth, have this grace about them that are just amazing, and everybody that I know love them. But for whatever reason,
I have not seen this one. This one looks awesome though, so I need to go and watch this.
Yeah, I don't know if it's out legally yet.
No, it's only just come out, sort of thing. So I need to have a look at that. But yeah, popularity wise, it's up. I'll tell you on IMDb. IMDb are loving it. Anyway, so yeah, I'll get round to that definitely. But yeah, so I am aware of the War World, which is Mongol's planet, sort of thing. So I was
Yes.
like, it sounds familiar, but how are they making it about the War World? So that's interesting. But yeah, no, DC animated was so good. The fact
That's
that
the
they
thing, though.
the fact that Warner Brothers shut it down, I was like, why? Surely they're making it, because it's really funny how it's come around. Because if you think about back to the 90s, you know,
Hmm.
which obviously will tie in later on in the discussion because of my love for him. But obviously, like DC movies were really big. The Superman movies, the Batmans, and all that jazz. They were big events. They were so good. Marvel could not get it together, and the only thing that they were successful at was cartoons. Funnily enough,
Yes.
it was great, But
Still,
now
still,
it's
to this day,
yeah.
if it's a Marvel or oh no, there's another one. There was also a Marvel crossover with some animated thing, which was like Justice League PWYM or something random like
Mm,
this, which was like this other thing that I also watched recently. Yeah, because I've just been watching way too many movies.
mm,
But it's just, I don't know, like their animated stuff is so good.
mm,
How can you also get a lot of the casting perfect? Like I
mm.
think Aquaman, Gal Gadot, I even like Batfleck, and obviously the nerd himself, Mr. Henry Cavill, who was brilliant. Like you got so many things right, and then you just went blah.
Yeah, no, the problem I think that they had is, of course, because Marvel did it in a really subtle way, because it was like, oh, we're just gonna make Iron Man and we'll see where it
Yeah,
goes. And of course, everyone was like, oh my god, this is really well done,
yeah,
genius, great. Oh well, then they did Iron Man 2 and they introduced a little bit more, and they're like, oh well, maybe we could actually start doing a bit of other bits of the catalog, not Spider Man and X Men related. And suddenly, next thing you know, you've got 6 movies out, and then it's like, shall we try an Avengers movie? And
yeah.
they tried it, and it blows up, and everyone loves it, and it's like, what the hell have we done? It's like, but it took them thinking, okay, right, well, let's have a plan. What's the plan? What's the big bad that we're gonna end up with?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's Thanos. It's gonna be Thanos, and it's like, oh, interesting. Oh, can't wait for that. So suddenly it was really good. But yeah, but it was hilarious how I felt like DC tried to force that too quickly,
Yeah.
rather than just make a good Batman. Well, obviously, Man of Steel was a good movie. I like Man of Steel. Man of
Yeah.
Steel was a good movie, but the fact is, it felt forced that they were like, oh no, we're gonna make a sequel. It's like, don't make it feel like we're gonna get a sequel. Make it feel like, oh damn, that was a good movie. Then you make a good Batman movie, and maybe have little tidbits that there's a possible connection, or you have the Wonder Woman movie that there's possible tidbits of connection and crossover. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, that's what you want.
Because I think that was the one thing that I feel like they got so right in Iron Man was the casting. And I know I've spoken about this before. The one thing that they've done is they've humanized the characters, and the
Mm,
bad guys
mm,
are great bad guys, and they feel
yeah.
like they're well developed. They feel like they've got that. Where DC always felt like these dudes are so ridiculously powerful,
Mm.
and their bads feel like, eh. And I think it's kind of like, I don't know, and I don't know, and I think, like for example, like you can go, oh, but Marvel got the casting right with like obviously Robert Downey Jr. and obviously Chris Evans and stuff, and they did. But DC, I feel like had a
Oh no.
solid casting.
Let's be honest. So the Justice League movie, right? Okay, no offense. Could you have said that wasn't a solid casting? Because it was.
Yeah,
It
it
was a
was exceptional.
massively solid casting, even with Batfleck. But, the holy trinity of the DC is Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. And quite frankly, I don't think you could have had 3 better actors for all.
No,
I mean, were we a fan of Batfleck's version of Batman? No, because he uses guns.
I was.
Oh no no no! You say no no. Batman should not use guns. I'm sorry. Batman no is a no for guns. I'm sorry.
Well, it
It's
was
a
only in that. I thought it was in just that one world, where I thought it was after the fact.
well.
I
He
didn't think
was
it was
yeah. I mean, he was using them against the aliens, and which you could argue, oh, he's using it against aliens, but still, no. Batman has always predominantly never used guns because obviously he's so traumatized by it, and he's like,
Yeah,
no, he's better than that, which is kind of the redeeming feature of it. So that's my only problem with it. But so oh god, I just really want to go on a rant about DC, but yeah, I think the problem is that they kind of forced the issue and it kind of ruined it. And I think that am I excited to see what James Gunn can do? Absolutely. But I don't know if they're going to be, because obviously he's going to have to recast because they've kind of, especially as, the Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, and Gal Gadot have said that they don't want to do it anymore, sort of thing, because because Warner Brothers kind of screwed them, and like especially with Ben Affleck, because originally he was meant to get his own Batman movie, and he's only been put down into cameos, and he kind of got ruined. So he's kind of like he's really jaded by that.
Well, you know what's funny too, though. So obviously, spoiler: he is in the Flash,
Yes.
but he is not in the cast.
Huh? What do you mean he's not in the cast? He's got to be in the cast.
When you actually see the credits, both him and his assistant weren't in the cast. If you actually have a look on IMDb, it actually says Ben Affleck uncredited.
Oh, but hang on. How can he be uncredited? Because he was
That's
there.
the thing, though. And the weird thing is he has a speaking role.
Yeah. Or did the AI it?
No. He supposedly did it. He did a cameo. So we will get into obviously some of the actors and stuff that you will see in it later, and try not to spoil it for you too much early on. But there are a number of actors that they've used either archive footage or are actually uncredited, which is really, really bizarre because they're obviously quite big names. So it's up to you if you want to do the spoilers straight away. But
I think there's no way of us reviewing this movie and me not giving away something, because I've got several things I want to say about this movie. Several big things about this movie I want to say.
So towards the end of the movie,
spoiler warning now, people. Spoiler warning is now.
So towards the end of it, you actually see the different worlds start to collide. And one thing that I do think was great, obviously you see Christopher Reeves and George Reeves come in with archive footage. I think it's Helen Slater who plays the original Supergirl.
Yeah.
Adam West was there.
Adam West verse. I was like, yes.
You see Nicolas Cage from that. You see Nicolas Cage as Superman.
Right.
In the so have you seen that? So he
no
was
right. I saw it and I was like, is that Nicolas Cage? And then my brain was like, hang on a minute. When was Nicolas Cage Superman?
So Nicolas Cage was originally cited to play Superman in a movie in the 90s, I believe it was, and he actually had the long hair and the really shiny suit. And there is an image going around, or that went around the internet that actually had him as it. I believe it was the 90s. Let me have a look. The Death of Superman, what happened was a 2025 documentary where it appeared that originally he was meant to be play as Man of Steel, and it's him in this shiny coat with this long hair, and he appears in in one of the alternate universes. Obviously, and what's weird too, though, but so for example, you have obviously George Clooney come back as Bruce Wayne, also uncredited. You have Gal Gadot, who actually comes in and actually does a bit of fighting, uncredited as well. You have Jason Momoa come back as Arthur Curry towards the end, uncredited.
Hang on, how the hell are these all uncredited? They were on screen,
and they had talking roles, and the same with Ben Affleck. So there does seem to be a lot of people where they've got these things that they've got these people in, and it's almost like, I don't know whether Warner Brothers is meant to screw them or because they don't want them to be part of the universe, they've uncredited them. But like, there's some big names in here that have done cameos that have been uncredited. And it's really bizarre and that was the one thing that a lot of people, and supposedly there was a thing saying that Ben Affleck was a little bit annoyed that when he watched it and the credits rolled and he wasn't in the credits. And I'm like, I'm not surprised at all. Like, it does seem like we've brought back a whole heap of people that have since been let go, and instead of crediting them, we've uncredited them. So yes,
that's interesting. I mean, what Warner? I mean that sounds like conspiracy theory for Warner Bros. Not wanting to be able to give them royalties or something, possibly.
Yeah, and maybe. Because they've entered their contract, technically.
Maybe.
I don't know, but like, it seems very weird. So obviously, Ezra Miller comes back after as the Flash, as Barry Allen, as we knew. obviously there was rumors that this was originally going to get cancelled, and then Gunn came out saying that this is the most exceptional movie DC's ever done, and it's going to change everything. Ezra Miller has come out as non-binary, so referred to as they, them. And that is probably one of the least weird things that has happened. He has started cults. He has been rumored to have abducted and influence young underage women. There's a whole heap of controversy around him. I do know that it didn't do as well as in the cinemas as they wanted, and a lot of them think it's down to them.
Yeah. No.
They did appear at the thingo dressed all in white with long hair and stuff, and I must say it was a bit weird because we've cancelled other people, i.e. Johnny Depp, for a number of things that haven't actually been real, and a lot of these things have been issues. They have said that in the past that Ezra has been dealing with their mental health and been working through a lot of things with that, and I'm like, okay, cool. That being said, it does seem weird that this has come out in a way where they have celebrated him and they have doubled down. I don't know if it's because they spent so much money making it. I don't know if they were hoping that this would reset DC's universe as it is.
I kind of feel like that they were aiming that this is going to be... You kind of feel like they were aiming for... Right, let's just hope everything dies down, everyone comes in and sees it and goes, yes, it's a great movie, please let him continue. And I think it kind of... The problem is that, people hold grudges and all that jazz. I mean, I was aware of all the Ezra stuff and all that jazz. I mean, I hadn't had the chance to go watch it at the cinema, but it was, I watched it and all that jazz, and I think, I will admit, I was on a couple of rums when I messaged you, because I said, I'm watching the Flash movie, and you're like, let me know how you go, and see that, Jez. And I was like, I've got words. And you were like, don't say anything. I was like, but I need to vent.
I was going to say, I could tell that you were quite fired up, and I had a feeling that Jordan has had a few beverages and decided to watch it before the episode.
Yes.
Because I do think that he watched it the night before this episode was being filmed. So he kind of, I had a feeling there might have been a little bit of rum or beer involved, and he was hella fired up about this.
My poor wife, she came through to see why I was still up, because obviously she didn't realize I was watching the movie, and she came through and said, I said, what are you doing? I said, I'm watching this Flash movie, and she's like, how's it going? I said, and then I literally, because obviously I can't talk to you, because obviously I have to give you fresh details. I give both barrels.
I think it's good, because I think sometimes too, I know where there's certain episodes where we plan certain things.
Yeah.
The problem is if you plan roughly how it's going to go, it doesn't feel authentic. And I'm like, bro, as much like last night I was sitting in bed and I was getting messages from Jordan. I'm like, I want to hear him rant, but I can't, because I know that if I do, and then we have to do the podcast, it's not going to come up then. And I'm like, or I'm not going to be as surprised. But yeah, and so poor Ellie copped it by the sounds of things.
Ellie copped it, sort of thing, and that's fine. But so I feel like should we just start? This is where Jordan's going to start ranting, and he seems like I'm a psychopath moment.
So we're going to have it. We should have this thing that flashes up. It says rant.
Trigger warning about to happen. Right. Okay. So obviously, I'm a big fan of Flashpoint as the comic and all that. And the DC animated one, fabulous, great. So my one big question is, why on earth do we get the bastard son? Sorry, swore. I don't care about swearing anymore. Why do we get the bastardized son of Flashpoint meets Superman Red Son, and we get this movie? It's like, pick a storyline to go with, because that's the thing that annoyed me off the bat when that happened. I was just like, because all they had to do, let's be honest, right? All Warner Bros. Had to do with this movie, right, is they looked at the animated one, which is good, which is well respected. Everybody likes it. It's fabulous.
Yeah, everybody raves about it. I reckon they should just remade it. It would have been
exactly
so much better. Just
all they had to do was remake that movie. Obviously budget cuts, cuts here and there, because obviously there's a lot of characters in the Flashpoint animated one. That's fine. Yeah. But dear Lord, why am I getting this horrible version of a Flashpoint movie? It is terrible. It's god awful.
And and what's weird though is it didn't seem to end Like it didn't seem to reset anything. And then when you did reset it, you reset it with old actors that technically you'll never see again. So you've
Oh,
somehow
right.
reset this friggin' universe
Yeah.
to then
Yeah.
I don't even
Right.
know to
Okay. So
reset a universe to not be reset.
right. Okay. For a start off, obviously, one, I was aware that Michael Keaton was going to be in this movie, and I thought, well, it's going to be interesting. You know, are they going to be doing original Michael Keaton Batman, or are we going to get Thomas Wayne Batman? You know, maybe a bit of a darker version. And I thought, oh, actually, Michael Keaton as Thomas Wayne Batman, sign me up.
I
You
won't
know,
lie, I loved Keaton in this. It was so good seeing him
Keaton
back in the
was
mask because
immense in this. Keaton saves this entire movie. I'm sorry, he does.
yeah.
There is no
You know
other
who I
good
was a
way.
big fan of as well, actually? I was a big
Oh,
fan of Supergirl. I thought she was great.
ah, right,
Sasha
okay.
Thinger.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Okay, all right. I appreciate that they brought in Supergirl rather than having another version of Henry Cavill with Superman. Fine, absolutely fine.
Yeah.
The problem I have is, and I do believe it's in IMDb they call it the goofs bit, which is because obviously the way it's set up is they have the story point of Flashpoint, which is Superman lands on Earth, but obviously a meteorite crashes into a town and kills a lot of people, and he gets captured, and they keep him the government keeps him hostage under a red sun, and basically he's not the good old farm boy grows up as a normal life. He's basically a prisoner. He's tortured for most of his life, so he's quite not fully there, which is fine. But in this time they've done it. But this time, instead of him landing, I think he originally in Flashpoint he lands in the middle of Metropolis and causes a lot of deaths. Whereas in this one, Kara Zor-El lands and she's captured by the Soviets and treated the same way. And it's just like, okay, right, fine. So now we've got Supergirl, which
I get that it doesn't go with it, but I'm like, it does seem like what they would say Soviet Russia would do back in the day, and you're like, okay, makes sense. Like,
makes sense. But
that's cool.
But why? Why on earth did we not have a Superman? And the fact is, they said, oh, that Zod caught the infant pod and basically kills Kal-El. And it's just like, but hang on. It's like, hang on. We've recast every other person for this movie. And this kind of felt like, oh, we need to give a girl a role. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of felt a bit like, we need to have a girl in this role. We can't have a boy in it.
But then they had Wonder Woman come back. Like, and I'm not. So they did press us by saying that what happened was obviously Supergirl, Kal-El's cousin, was sent here to help protect Superman.
Yeah.
She got here, got captured, couldn't find him, whatever, and then So they did cover why obviously there was a female in the role. They didn't say this is Superman from an alternate universe. They didn't do anything like that. So I like the fact that they did that. And I think that having Supergirl was good. Obviously, then you find that Zod comes and he's captured the infant, killed him, and then she loses it, gets angry, and...
But apparently she's got the codex in her, not Kal-El did, so which is also confusing, because why would Jor-El put it in...
cousin,
Kara rather than his own son. So there was again, plot hole. We keep finding these movies, people. Plot hole. Can we have the writers come to a general consensus of what we're having? I mean, come on.
It does feel weird if Supergirl is only there to task to protect Superman.
Yeah. But apparently she got the codex installed in her without her knowing.
Yeah, somehow she has the codex. So you're like, but like if she dies to protect Superman from Zod,
then the codex is gone anyway. It's like,
and the codex, and you're like, huh?
Honestly, it opened up a world thing.
Yeah,
but the problem is, I think the problem I have as well is the fact is that Superman Red Sun, which I know DCU did the animation for as well. I've got the comic. I've got the graphic novel. Great. It's such a good one. Literally, it's one of my favorite. It's one of the few Superman comics I rate. Is Superman Red Sun, and it's only. I thank my GW manager, my Games Workshop manager. Because when we were working in Covent Garden, there was a Forbidden Planet around the corner, and I said I want to get a new graphic novel. I want something different, and we were talking about stuff, and he said, "Oh, have you ever read Superman Red Sun?" I went, "No, I'm not a huge DC fan." He went, "No, honestly, go read it. I guarantee you will love it." And honest to God, I thought, "Wow, it's great." I went along, and I think they had it on sale for like £10. sort of thing,
Yeah.
because he obviously was a bit old at that point. And I thought, yeah, screw it, I'll pick it up for £10. And oh my god,
Yeah,
I
for a penny, like,
loved it. It is
yeah,
such a good take on, especially as like you end up having, I
yeah,
think, it's obviously, I think it's President Carter or something at the time saying, could you realize that if he had if he had landed 12 hours early, he would have been born in the United, he would have been a part of the United States and not working for the Russians. And it's just like, oh god, it just works, because it just does work, because all it is Superman's story, but
yeah.
from a Soviet perspective, and it just works.
I just remember the cartoon. I remember watching the
Oh, the
cartoon
cartoon, the
again.
cartoon
Animated
got
series
it
was amazing.
damn near perfect as well, sort of thing. There's a couple
Yeah.
of things that got wrong, but but
That's
the cartoon was
that's the thing that I
great.
don't get though, is I'm like, how do you get the cartoons so perfect, so on point, and then you release this universe and it's just
And it's garbage.
hot
It's hot
garbage.
garbage. It is hot garbage, and it is just one of those things. I don't get it either. How
I
they get
must
it
say,
so wrong.
as I said, I liked the original Wonder Woman. I liked Aquaman, but
Yes.
mainly because he's probably one of my favorite DC characters. I won't lie, he looks a little bit different than I remember him. Obviously, the blonde-haired, blue eyes Carter versus obviously the what
Just
should we say? What's
just
the
a
best way to
smidge
say it?
different.
The hubba hubba mahoa, as I like to call it.
Oh
But
god.
but that being said, like I love that kind of thing, and I love that they obviously went down that route. But I'm like, there's so many of it where they just like, even then, like I love their casting, and I think their casting has saved them a lot because I feel like some of this casting, like Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, obviously Momoa, if they hadn't have got some of these characters and some of these actors to like play these roles, I genuinely feel like they would have been even worse. Like even going back and
Yeah.
rewatching some of them or thinking about some of them, you're like, it wasn't great, but it just, I
Well,
don't know. And
well,
this one just was meant to save the universe. And I think the best bit was when you got to see some of the old characters from throughout the different universes
no, I
when they
think
did it. And I'm
my
like,
the best bit for me was because obviously, so basically, the Flash goes back in. The Flash goes basically. He discovers that he can do time travel, and then
yeah,
he gets the idea in his head that he can save his mom by just affecting one little point. Now, obviously, the main part of Flashpoint is that the fact is that Zoom is the person who kills his mother.
yes,
Obviously, that's not mentioned. Obviously, at
no.
all in this universe. So
That
we
was
don't
one
have
thing that I was
we
curious
don't have a
about.
zoom, and it's kind of like, oh, you just want a zoom. I mean, we kind of get a zoom, but we get the black what is it, the black racer, who become and all this jazz. But anyway, that's beyond the
Yeah,
point. But it was kind of like, all right, I'll be interested to see how they do it. And I was on board. I was on board with, oh yeah, well, just the fact is that it's a robber who didn't think it was going to be anyone going to be in the house, and he killed her by accident, blah blah blah, and got away, blah blah blah. Fine, absolutely fine with that, not a problem. But
I must say,
then we
I
get,
wish there was a way of him going back and actually seeing that because it did seem like it was like it just seemed so like the death of his mother seemed so blah.
yeah, it was a bit blah. But then obviously he meets his younger self, because obviously he's then racing back, and the Black Racer kicks him out of the time sphere, and he's the Black
Yeah.
Racer immediately, and it's like, oh, it's the Black Death. Oh yes,
See,
cool.
I didn't know of the Black Racer.
You've
That's
got
why I
it.
wasn't
Well,
sure.
sadly, I'm aware of it because I watched the Flash TV series
Oh,
a
okay.
couple of years ago, sort
Yeah.
of thing, and there was an entire thing about that sort of thing, and it was quite good. But so the Black
But
Death,
it was weird. So pretty much in the thing, he just goes back and puts an extra can of tomatoes in the actual cart. That's
yeah,
all he does.
which requires his dad not
And
to leave to go to the store, which means someone's home and blah blah blah, and X, Y,
yeah,
and Z.
and then obviously then as he's running back, he gets knocked out at I think he was 18 or
18,
20
yeah,
or something.
18, yeah.
And then obviously and this is the thing that's weird. So I'm like, so he then meets his younger self, then relives the thing that gives him his powers.
which then
But I'm
makes
like,
him lose his powers because he ended up getting striked through by the lightning, which took away his powers, which was fine.
that was fine. But what seemed weird though is I'm like, but what? So if, for example, if this is meant to be you, and he has no powers and he doesn't have the same timeline, wouldn't that, in theory, you wouldn't have your powers then?
Well, no, it depends which part of time travel theory you
Yeah.
describe to. Originally,
Yeah, I know. The idea is that he changes his timeline to then
Yes.
have it. So if he changes his timeline and he's got a race to get himself the powers,
Yeah.
and he never had
Yeah.
those powers to begin with, how does that
Yeah,
end?
it's a big swirling mess. As Michael Keaton Bruce Wayne puts it in a thing, it's not just one spaghetti strand; it's all spaghetti strands touching at the same point, and there's nexuses and all that. And I think
I
actually,
must say that
Michael
that bit was
Keaton's
clever.
explanation, I was like, bravo! As a
Yeah.
physicist, I was like, thank you, Michael Keaton. You've explained this
It is
beautifully.
weird though because that's the weirdest thing because you literally do it and you're just like, that's
Well, no,
actually
because I
genius.
think see, this is the problem: is that Back to the Future. This is the Back to the Future's issue, right? Back to the Future has put the wrong idea of how time travel works into people's heads, and it is true, and it is true, and it's just because literally you think that's how time works. But the problem is that if you can move throughout time, you cause branches and it causes loops and causality and it just doesn't work. So therefore, it can't be, oh, I can go back, I can do this, and therefore my future changes. No. You've created a branch. So it's in all changes. But then the problem is that you end up getting spaghetti mess, as Bruce Wayne
But then
puts
the
it.
problem with that, the problem that I find with that too, though, is but then when obviously towards the end, another spoiler alert, when Black Racer dies,
Yes.
it kind of does the exact same thing. So it kind of feels awkward where, like, I know that they're technically on the same timeline, but wouldn't that just be another branch where they could kind of do the same thing?
As we discovered in the closing scene with the Flash, is that he thinks he's fixed everything. Everything is back to normal. Therefore, it's all good. And obviously, I assume he checked up on stuff. But then he then realizes that, oh, you're not my Bruce Wayne, and realizes that he's on probably a very similar timeline, but he's not on he's not on his timeline.
But see, that would have for me that would have been the perfect point to be like
to introduce a new Batman. Exactly. That's the thing where I think they went wrong at the end of this movie. Where they went wrong is they should have had, you're not Clark, you're not Diane. It should have been that. It should have been the Justice League were meeting for a meeting, and then you could have had Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter as well there. And it's like, who are you guys? Very funny, Barry. It's like, okay, and then they carry on or whatever, and then he's like, and then he sees Superman fly in, and then Diane, and then Brute, and it's like, and then he goes, oh god, oh no. It's like, Barry, you said you wanted to discuss something about major importance. He's like, gotta go, and he goes, like, that's how it should have ended.
Not even going that far, but even just introducing either a different Batman or a different Superman or a different Clark,
and then
just to make it feel like.
And then he could have had the dawning realization of, oh god, and then cut, done. That would have worked.
And I think that would have been genius. But that's the thing, and I'm like, it felt like this opportunity to restart the DC universe was just.
Was missed. Oh yeah, no, it was. It was the biggest fumble I think I've seen in a movie, because that's all they had to do. All they had to is, to be fair, as we've already said, and we've discussed this with Deadpool. We discussed this with the Deadpool thing of, we want to see the next Wolverine being introduced, because it needs to happen in somehow. It somehow needs to happen. We don't know how it's going to happen, but we need it. We just need that little tease. The next Wolverine. We don't need Professor X or any of that yet. We just need to see the equivalent who's going to be introduced.
Or even do like what they did with Shazam, where you have like either Batman or Superman or
where you see the suit and you don't see who's in it. Yes.
Or you see the back of where they're saying, oh, Bruce Wayne, and then you see from behind this character in a suit walk behind him, and as he does that, him go, who are you? And then cut it there. So that things have changed. But I get that they wanted to do the cameos and different things, but it just felt like it's like, it just feels like it's still part of the old universe and it's not going to move forward.
Now, speaking of cameos, I want to get onto Michael Keaton Batman, because
swear to God, this was the greatest moment.
Now, obviously,
everything about
the way it happens, obviously, the way it happens in the movie, obviously, both of the Barrys turn up, and obviously, should we say original Flash? Is that the older Flash? Or how I don't know how we're going to say it. But
I would say
the one who's lost his powers, obviously he wants to go find Bruce to help solve the problem because he's aware that Batman exists, but no one knows who Batman is. And luckily, he knows. Now, obviously, we turn up. It's a creepy gate, and we're like, oh, and then my heart was like, oh, please be Thomas Wayne Batman. Please be Thomas Wayne Batman. Please. I was like hoping because I know Michael Keaton's been the Batman in it, but I'm like, please.
I'm actually like, was it something that I was like, this would be cool? I went, yep. But did I care that it was? I was like, no. I just wanted to. And my main thing was, I just want to see Michael Keaton in his Batsuit again.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I wanted to say that, but I was kind of like holding out hope just for a bit of grim darkness from this. I just really wanted it. So anyway, obviously we end up seeing, and obviously he's Batman. He's got a beard and all this jazz, but he is not
very different. He's a much older, grizzled. Much Batman.
Much older, grizzled. Apparently, Gotham's the safest one in the thing. The second he said that, I'm like, oh, we're not getting Thomas Wayne Batman. I was livid. At that point, I was livid. So I was like, oh, fine.
Yes.
But then I was immediately felt redemption. Once they broke in, once the Flashes had broke into the Batcave.
Yes.
The second I saw the silhouette of the car, I was like,
yes. That was great.
I felt
I was actually
immense. There was like a little warm, fuzzy feeling, and I was like, yes.
I was going to be afraid though that what they were going to do was just keep it as so you see the silhouette of it, and you see it with a car cover on top of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like I would love to see them actually show them. And that was the thing that I thought they weren't going to do, but then he ended up pulling it back, and you're like. And it was the old school one.
I'll tell you one thing. One stupid thing my brain came up with while I was watching, while that scene came on, was I wonder how much it cost to get a car cover made for the original Batmobile.
It's true though, because it's such a distinctive size. It's so big.
And then I was laughing at myself of you could tell I'm a dad now. That's all. I was like, oh my god, how old am I that I'm going? I wonder how much it cost to get a car cover made for a custom car like that.
That must have cost a fortune. Oh bloody, I wouldn't be doing that.
I was like, of all the things I could think of, the car cover must have been pretty expensive.
But it was so good because it did feel like it was just Michael Keaton's Batman, but back.
Oh yeah.
There was so many good things about it. Like obviously, then you get to see the suit and the different things, and there was just obviously
the bit where
you get to see
the bit where he opens it up and you get to see his variety of and there's like an armored one. I was like, whoa, where was that one? I want that one. Can we see him in this piece, please? No, we don't want the classic one. Put the armored one on. That looks awesome. Oh god, there was so many good ones. I just wanted to see him in, but
and that's the thing though, and obviously from there you're obviously Barry and them go off and find Supergirl, rescue her.
Well, they aim to find Superman, thinking they're going to find Superman, and then turns out that it's Supergirl. Well, they don't know it's Supergirl yet, but they realize that
Barry, non-powered older Barry.
Yeah,
I guess we're going to call him
older Barry.
Obviously goes, we can't leave her here. They take him out. Then all of a sudden they get out, but the alarm goes and they obviously drop the girl, and they look like they're about to try to fight all the guards. And then all of a sudden you see this withered hand start to grow into like a normal hand and get strong. And then she just opens up a can of whoop ass, and it was such a cool scene. And I was like, this is amazing.
And then proceeds to lose her Russian accent within 2 lines.
I don't even think she had a Russian accent at the start.
She did. That's the worst bit. It's in the Goof. It's actually. I noticed it, and I thought that's a bit weird. But then I noticed it it's actually mentioned here on the Goof. Even though Kara Zor has been a prisoner of Soviet since around her, she loses her Russian accent after her first few lines of dialogue. And I thought, oh my god, it wasn't just me who noticed that.
Yeah, because I didn't actually notice that. But yeah, no. So she obviously comes back, and then she's like, no, she hates humans, whatever. She's only there for one thing. And obviously because of the kindness of him, and also seeing, and then also seeing Zod mess up a whole heap of humans as well, makes her go, okay, I'm going to fight for this. And kind of you see her almost step into that hero role, which was actually a really nice, considering it only happened over probably a few minutes.
Yeah.
And I must say I did think she was great. And then obviously from there, Barry tries to get his powers back to get struck by lightning. He throws chemicals on himself, and then obviously then Kara takes him up into the stratosphere, and he gets struck by lightning a few times, and then he gets his powers back. So we kind of have a couple of things. But I'm like, the one thing I must say, the thing that was just like ridiculous was at the very start of the film. And just that stupid stance he gets into before he runs.
Oh,
Did you? Yeah, like he gets into this stupid stance and he holds it there, and then he's about to take off. I'm like, that was just, it just felt like stupid. Like, and I'm like, I don't even understand. Like,
Well,
it makes no sense.
It's funny because like when you watch all the DC animated ones, of course, because he'll be standing and talking, then he's gone, and
Yeah, and that's the thing. But he does that throughout the entire movie, except for this one wanky bit where he's like, "I've got to go to Gotham or to wherever it was."
It's the
And he
wanky
just
bit where
stands-
he's just given powers to Matey Boy and he realizes he's lost his powers. He's like, oh no, and he tries to do the run and he runs in a circle in the most.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, that run bit belongs on the Ministry of Silly Walks. It's so stupid.
Like, it just. But there was like that's the thing that I wanted to like this film, and then with Gunn saying it, I was like, okay, I'm open for it. I must say, I'm not a massive fan of Ezra Miller, and I'm kind of like, nah. But I must say, I really love Kara. I thought Michael Keaton, like if he wasn't in this, and had they got one of the other Batman, or even if Batfleck had done it, I don't think it would have had the same power
I'll
and the
tell you,
same
as I
nuance of
said,
it.
Michael Keaton saved this entire movie. Though
Yeah,
just
100%.
the initial energy he brings is great. It's like yeah, and then you suddenly realize, oh my god, we're actually in Keaton verse. You know, we're in Michael Keaton Batman verse, and like yeah. Apart from where was all the souvenir bits? That's the bit of the Batcave I wanted to see. When I realized that we're in Keaton verse, it's like, oh, where's the souvenir bit? I was livid.
He's probably got rid of him or something. I do love when Barry was calling around trying to find like Clark Kent and Aquaman and stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously he calls Aquaman's dad, and he's like, she's a princess mermaid thing, and he turns around and there's just this fat white blonde lady just sitting on the couch, like watching her stories.
Yes.
And I'm just like, there was a few bits like that I thought was funny.
Yeah, I'll need to talk to Arthur. You need to talk to my dog. He's like,
yeah,
your dog? Yeah, my dog, Arthur Curry. And he's like, oh.
And then he goes on about all this mermaid and stuff.
That was funny, and I tell you, it was quite nice. That was quite a nice little sort of nod and roll. But yeah, obviously, especially when you realise that. So it was the after credits scene, I think it was, where he's found Aquaman, and he's trying to.
And it's still played by Jason Momoa, which I get that there's another Aquaman movie, so I'm like, I'm not as offended as that one, but I'm just like.
Well, no, because they used Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa in what was that spin-off series from Suicide Squad? Oh, with John Cena.
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, thank you. Yeah, because they did the Peacemaker series, and I think in like the last episode of that, I think I saw something because I haven't watched it yet. But there was a spot, the big bad that he takes out. The Justice League finally show up, and he's like, "God, where were you, dickhead?" He calls them dickheads, and then he's like, "Why don't you go for?" And then he says to Jason, "No, why don't you go fuck a fish?" And he's like, and then he's like, "I wish people would stop saying that. It's a completely untrue." And then Ezra Miller goes, "Well, technically, it's true." And he goes, "Shut up, Barry."
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. There was some fun bits there, but like, I don't know. Like, it just felt.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, was it okay? Right? Did I enjoy watching it? It was all right. The problem is though, is I have knowledge of both Flashpoint and Superman Red Son, so it kind of, if you have knowledge of these two amazing animation films or reading the graphic novels, this movie is it's really spoiled. It doesn't work. Whereas if you,
I mean, I like it. I like that they touched on obviously the Red Son version of it, and obviously being an alternative universe, things happen. And I'm like, I don't mind that. Like, I didn't mind how they introduced Kara. and
Yeah.
that kind of Red Sun kind of esque thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's kind of like it just like you've got these two amazing stories that you should do separately,
Oh
and
yeah,
you've
yeah.
kind of jammed them together in this messy kind of like thing where I'm like, this probably would have been better as a Batman film just with Michael Keaton.
Oh, on Scott, can we just be honest? If they were to say it, Michael Keaton's coming back for a Batman.
Like an old
Absolutely,
Batman.
we're on board.
Yeah.
We're all going. We're all going.
Yeah.
Regardless, I know he's 70 odd, but we're all up for it. Let's be honest, because it's
Yeah.
Michael Keaton, he's Batman, because he's.
And then just having Ezra go back constantly at the end to try to fix everything and stuff, and
Yeah,
obviously
so
you
so
see him
baby
slowly become-
baby Flash ends up going trying to fix everything and save everyone, and but all the Barrys realize I can't do this because it's destroying the timeline and it's causing more problems than it's worth.
And as you're seeing this, it's good because you see these different globes of different colors coming together and colliding, and that's when you get all the like obviously the things like Christopher Reeves and George Reeves and Adam West and Ben Affleck. I mean, not Ben Affleck. Nicolas Cage and different people start to come together, and you get a look at all the older ones, which I thought was a really nice touch of just paying homage to all the people that came before them.
To be fair, the one thing when they were doing the spheres, I think they missed a trick by not having the because I know the TV series recently did I forget what it's called now, where
Lois and Clark. No, not Lois and Clark.
There was Lois and Superman series that's recently been out, but before that there was the Flash, there was the Arrowverse, and they did like a big massive crossover event.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it's called now.
That's yes.
But you know what I mean. And basically, the Flash ended with actually meeting Ezra Miller, and they're like, oh, it's the universes are out of alignment slightly, and they've sort of realized that. I like his. Oh, I like the battle armor. And he's like, yeah, no, I do. I'm digging the red suit, and then that's the reason why Ezra's got a new red suit, his new fancy red suit, rather than his armor, sort of thing.
Well, that was the thing though, because they did say that a lot of people were a bit annoyed that they didn't obviously get that cameo from the Flash in the series, and there is a lot of talk saying that they want him to. Was it
Guy Gunston? Guy Gunston? Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really watched it that much, but yeah, I feel like there were nods back to older people.
Yeah, but they could. When they did the Spheres thing, why didn't they have the Sphere of the Flash series or the Supergirl series? You know, they could have had that because it's all their property anyway. I understand they wanted the movie elements. And don't get me wrong, that's completely fine. Yeah, but it was kind of like, it kind of felt like another missed opportunity.
Yeah, but then you brought in the cameo of obviously Nicolas Cage is that from his movie that I think was it was meant to be like 25 years ago or something.
But to me, that was confusing as hell. I was like, why is Nicolas Cage in a Superman outfit? That's all that my brain. Because obviously I didn't know, but
yeah.
And
it just felt like there's so many Superman and Batman, like you could have brought back so many. And I did think it was great that they did a few of them here and there, but you just kind of like, that's like, and he's seeing these things and then the worlds start colliding and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. And then obviously Black Flash I think young Flash ends up realizing Black Flash goes to kill old Flash, and then he obviously gets in the way and dies, and then both of them kind of disintegrate.
Yeah.
Which
again doesn't work because we've already the movie establishes itself that time doesn't work the way it's meant to, and the fact that so Black Flash has killed his younger self, well, that doesn't matter anymore because Black Flash is now more predominant. It doesn't make any sense.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I brought up what I did, because I'm like, if Flash didn't have his powers, in theory, then older Flash wouldn't have his powers. So then they would just be Barry
and then
Allen
in theory, the black racer doesn't have his power. Yeah, no, then
for some reason when Black Flash kills young Flash, all of a sudden they die, but then normal Flash is just like golden.
It was a bit of a hot mess in my opinion in certain things.
I did think one thing that I did like though was the simple change he made at the end. So towards when you actually meet Barry Allen, you find out that his dad has been convicted of murdering his mum, and because Batman manages to superimpose or change the damaged film. And originally all you could see was his hat. You didn't actually get to see him, and they went, well, it could have been anybody's hat kind of thing. And Barry Allen, obviously, when he puts this thing back, quite smartly goes, and puts the sources at the top. So the gentleman that obviously went back to grab the source has to look up to grab the source, and you can see it in the thingo. And I thought that was a nice little nod back to that, because I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. Was he's able to kind of save his dad in regards to certain things.
Mm.
And there was a few things that I'm like, so you've changed certain things, but you haven't changed other things. And there just seems like, yeah, it just like, I must say, like, I wasn't like, I was just like, you've already killed the entire thing. Like the Flash and the new Aquaman, which is annoying because I like Aquaman, I wasn't excited for. And then obviously Gunn spoke about this one being that it's going to be that. And I was like, sweet, thinking that we're going to get the Flashpoint and that's going to be when you change all the characters.
Mm.
And you didn't. You just brought back old
Yeah.
characters, and it
No,
just felt like, and that's why I said I think they should have done the bit where he looks confused at looking at the new thingo or the new
he's had the beep thing, and he's been summoned to Justice League headquarters or whatever sort of thing, and he turns up and he's like, "Who are you guys?" And they all go, "Haha, very funny, Barry," or something.
Yeah, or
and
you just see them all walk out, and you just see all their images from the back, and you see the iconic cape, Wonder Woman's dress, like thingo, and then just have him look confused and go, "Who are you guys?" And then just cut it there. And I think, or something like that, where it feels like there's going to be something new.
In fact, he could have done he zooms into the meeting hall, and then he's like, "Who are you guys?" And he zooms out. You could have had it zoom out, and then you've got like say a shorter version of Superman. You could have a blonde Wonder Woman, maybe even blonde Aquaman. You could have had sort of that with some old school style outfits on.
Yeah,
it would have been hilarious.
But that's the problem too, though, is it did feel like there was like little funny aspects, and it was more just like, oh, this is just going to pay homage to all the things that have come before us. But then it just, I don't know, like it didn't set up anything. Like the whole point of Flashpoint is to restart the universe, and it felt like it didn't really.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, in the DC animated one, is he then realizes that. You don't realize it because obviously there's apparently a massive story arc which we didn't realize until he got to. Oh God, which one was it? It was. Oh God, I can't remember now. But it was the one with John Constantine, and basically there's been the end. Been a massive fight against Apocalypse, and they
Justice
lost.
League Dark, yeah, Justice League Dark.
No, it wasn't Dark. It was the one after that, because Dark was really good. Dark was sweet. I love Dark. God's sakes, I need to look it up now. Just
that's what I'm doing now too.
Okay, you
Yeah, there's Justice League Dark, and then there was another one. Just can't remember what it was. But it is weird though, because they've got so many great animated movies, and you've just kind of like
Justice League Dark, the Apocalypse War. So it was Dark.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, you end up going through all this thing, and then basically Constantine ends up mind melt. Well, he ends up mind touching with the Flash and realizes he's the cause of where they are now because of the Flashpoint movie.
Yeah.
And he's gone through all this thing. And you're like, and then suddenly at the end of the thing, he's like, "Listen, you know what you got to do." And he's like, "Well, no, because we messed it up last time." And he said, "Yeah, but we might mess it up again, but at least we've got another shot." Because apparently the planet's about to die anyway, and all this jazz. So he's like, so he ends up resetting. And it's great ending to a movie. You know, that's it. It just leaves it big, wide open. It's like, ooh.
That's what they needed to do, or leave it somewhat open, or at least at the very least have some new characters. Like, I believe they have cast Superman, or they're close to casting Superman, or whatever. But I'm like, why not just have like something where you don't see the person's face, rather than give us a picture of, like, say, George Clooney as he walks out, and you're like, well, I know for a fact George Clooney's not going to be the new Superman, especially the new Batman.
The new Batman, yeah. So, good old bat nipples. Yeah, we don't need good old bat nipples back.
I love bat nipples.
No, we don't need bat nipples back in any way, shape, or form, dear Lord.
So funny. But yeah, it just, I must say, like, I kind of was a little bit excited when Gunn said that and I'm like, this must be pretty good for them to overlook everything that poor Ezra Miller has been accused of and also proven to have done. And I don't know, it just kind of, I don't know, like it just seemed to fall flat.
That's the one thing I think I was a bit more irate about when I wanted to message you last night at after clock. Was I was like, I felt really peed off at the movie. I was like, what is this? It's not doing anything. It's like, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It was an okay movie, but the problem is that I'm a fan. I have knowledge. This movie doesn't do anything for me. It's like, give me a movie that does something. Especially as James Gunn hyped it up. Oh, it's going to be a big change for the thing. It's like, then you watch it,
I've
you're like,
never seen another DC movie like this, and I'm like,
and then
neither
you
have I.
watch it, you're
It's
like,
fucking
this looks
average
like
shit.
every other one we've watched.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything at all. But yeah, so no,
Yes, but all this hype and misses the mark. It sounds exactly like DC.
it honestly, it was terrible. It was really bad, sort of thing. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I honestly think, and funnily enough, because I've just looked up Batman and Robin, because I wanted to remember who played Robin with Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah, it was Chris O'Donnell. Yeah,
Chris O'Donnell. But I actually thought, do you know what would have been quite interesting? Imagine if we'd gotten Chris O'Donnell as Nightwing in this
that
some point.
I want Nightwing to come.
That would have been good. That would have been entertaining. But
There
anyway.
was actually a Kickstarter that I backed called Nightwing, and this dude did it, and I must say, still to this day, it's made me just like Nightwing even more. It was just so well done, and I'm like, I feel like I've seen fan movies of DC characters that I've liked more than the DC universe.
Yeah.
Like even the Snyder Cut, when the Snyder Cut came out, I was like, it's definitely a better film.
Oh,
Still not
the
great.
Snyder Cut is way better than the theatrical release.
Yeah.
Massively.
That being said, though,
then again, I understand why why Warner Bros. Would not allow him to do the Snyder Cut, because God, I haven't got time. I haven't got time for the Snyder Cut. The only reason I made time is because they went, no, we're not giving the people what they want, and I ended up sitting down and watching it out of principle, because I'm like, hell no, I'll watch what I want. Thank you, Warner Brothers. But it's
I was like that. I was like, well, everybody's hyped this up. We finally got it. Let's see what it's like. And I watched it, and I'm like, don't get me wrong, it is head and shoulders above, but it's still, to me, it still wasn't.
Oh, it's still built on a terrible foundation. It's still a terrible movie. But
you didn't change enough to actually make it good. Like it felt like there was a few scenes that I think were much better shot. There was a whole heap of stuff that was obviously done, but I'm still like, it doesn't feel that much of a better movie. It just feels like almost like a director's cut, like where you've changed a few scenes after the fact. Like it didn't feel like it was anything that was like, I waited all this time for this.
I mean,
but it was a lot better.
I mean, to be fair, it's like the God, I'm probably going to get here for this, but it's like the director's cut of Alien. When that got,
I don't know if I've seen that. Is it?
Honestly, it doesn't. Honestly, it doesn't add much.
Yeah, it's kind of like those
personally, right? Okay, right. Alien fans, I know. Okay, trust me, love the franchise. It's great. Blah blah blah. Personally, I don't rate it. I don't rate the director version over the theatrical cut. I think you can get away with watching either, quite frankly.
It's like when remember when Star Wars did those 13 minutes of extra footage?
Oh God! Right, I'll tell you what. The worst bit was because, of course, I grew up watching, obviously, on VHS the originals, which was fine. And then they said, "Oh, we've redone them," and I'm like, awesome. And you go along and watch it, it's like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Yeah, like it just kind of reminds
the first one, A New Hope, and they put in the Jabba the Hutt scene. That does not add anything to the movie in any way, shape, or form, apart from it introduces Jabba the Hutt 2 movies earlier.
And that's all it was. Like it didn't. It just so you kind of go, okay, so the bounty hunter that says that I'm after Han Solo, that gets killed at the start, you kind of go, okay, so that's the guy that's hired them.
Yeah.
Which you still learn in the Jedi. Like I didn't need that backstory. That being said, though, Rogue One was a film that I was like, I don't need that. Like when they first said they were going to release it, I was like, why do we need that? We already know what happens. They get the plans, they die. Like the movie's going to be pretty shit because we already know everything that happens. That being said, I didn't mind it.
Oh no!
Did it need it?
Me and Ellie actually rate Rogue One over most of all the prequels and especially the sequel trilogy. Jesus Christ! But yeah, Rogue One is up there. We like Rogue One. That was a really good movie. We actually really enjoyed that. We were really invested. I mean, you don't know. I mean, the only reason why you know most of them die is because from the one straight line in New Hope where it says a lot of Bothans. The worst bit. That's the other thing is that a lot of Bothans died to get us this information. And then you're
Yeah.
like, okay, so you think it's like a lot of an alien race, but obviously it turns out it's not. And both of them doesn't mean anything realistically.
Yeah.
It's just basically what it should have been is a lot of people died to get us this information
See, with
because.
that
But to be
felt
fair,
like,
the best bit of that entire movie is literally the last 5 minutes with Terminator
yeah.
as well.
But that's the thing, though. It adds depth,
Yeah.
and that keeps true to the original story and everything that you know. And you're like, that's cool. But like, yeah, like I don't know, like this film, like I was like, I'm open to it. I want to see what it's like, and
Yeah. No,
I was like, yeah, like it was kind of take it or leave it. Like pretty much at the end, he's done all this stuff, and other than pretty much changing that his dad looks up, it legitimately changes fuck all, and it doesn't set up anything like anything at all.
yeah, no,
And I'm like,
it was a big disappointment, the ending sort of thing, and that's the reason why I
the
wanted to
whole
rant
point
at
of
you
Flashpoint
really
is
badly, sort of thing.
yeah, but the whole point of Flashpoint is to change, obviously the whole universe. Like you've done this because you're like, shit didn't go well, and it's kind of like now you've kind of like sweet. So now you've got this kind of subpar kind of movie that you wanted to use it to change it, and really all it did was like kill a Barry off in an alternative universe and kind of explain how there's multi-universes. But I'm like, I don't feel like there was much to it. Like I think Keaton was great. I think his obviously understanding of like him pretty much using spaghetti to go, this is the universe, and just dump spaghetti on the table, fucking brilliant. And it was like, it's like, this is the most complex thing that people can talk about, and you've literally done it with some pasta. And yet, for whatever reason, it's really easy to understand. And so I'm like, you've taken this massive thing that could have been this over complex, this, that, and the other, and done it in a way that is very
Relatable.
simple
No, definitely.
and so easy to understand. And I'm like, that was a massive hurdle that I was wondering how they got over.
No, I know.
And
I know
then
what
you
mean.
kind of went, and then you pretty much only went, oh, we've pretty much, this is 2 strands of spaghetti, and that's it.
Yeah. No,
Like
was
it just, I don't know. Like I must say, I
Same.
wanted it to be good.
Yeah, honestly, I wanted it to be good as well. I was a bit disappointed by it. I mean, where would I rate it in the DCEU? DC universe is. I mean, still, I think Man of Steel is still my favorite. Then Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I've got Wonder Woman as number 1. I won't lie.
I like Man of Steel. I mean, Wonder Woman was good, but I prefer Man of Steel. But
Man of Steel's probably 2. That's the thing. I've got them different.
I don't know where I'd pick my third. I don't know what I'd pick for my third, but it's certainly not in the top 3.
I wasn't a fan. I thought it was Aquaman. I liked Aquaman.
Aquaman wasn't bad.
Aquaman was up.
It wasn't bad. It was a little bit too jokey for my liking, but you know, it was all right. It wasn't too bad, sort of thing. But yeah, so yeah, maybe Aquaman would be 3. So yeah, it's definitely not in the top. This doesn't break the top 3. It doesn't bust it wide open. But yeah, it was all right. It was all right, but I think
James Gunn I would put it above Josh Whedon's Justice League, but I actually put it below Snyder's. Because I felt like Josh Whedon's one was like,
yeah. No, I think that is probably an accurate statement. I think realistically, especially because obviously in the Justice League movie we get that Barry's able to time travel, and Bruce has sent him especially. So I think, but obviously he turns up too early. And blah blah blah, X, Y, and Z. Yeah. So you know, so the fact is that it is established that Barry can time travel, and it is a known issue. But anyway, I've just realised the time, and we've got to edit in everything else. So we've been ranting on. So anyway, if you do want to, obviously go, let us know what you thought of the Flash movie.
And if you think we're wrong, by all means,
if you think we're wrong, feel free to argue. We will argue in these comments. I will argue in these comments.
No, I know Jordan will. But yeah, I must say, like, I wanted to like this. I'm glad. It sounds bad, but I'm glad I didn't see this at the movies.
Oh, I'm so glad I haven't paid money to watch this. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't know if I could warrant spending $25-$30 to see.
Absolutely not. I'd say if I'd spent money on this, I'd be livid. No, definitely not. It'd be like going to watch Batman and Robin all over again with "I Still Miss You."
Come on, man, that was so good. It was so. I think that at least with that movie, like, what's weird is I like that movie more than I like this movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would
There's a level
happily
of
go
badness
watch.
which
I
just
would happily go watch Batman and Robin with good old bat
yeah,
nibbles.
nibble bat. But yeah,
Oh,
like it's just I don't know.
yeah.
Like I must say, like this was a film that I was like, I think this could be good. And if they've talked it up and they're willing to overlook all the stuff that has happened, even though unlike other people who've been cancelled when it hasn't been proven, this has been proven.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
I was just like,
definitely interesting. Warner Brothers choice, definitely interesting. I mean,
I feel like this,
um,
yeah, this could have
I
stayed on the shelf, and
I
I
tell
wouldn't
you
have been
what,
disappointed.
I'm actually not holding out good hopes for the Aquaman sequel because I know that that's
Yeah,
coming. I'm not holding out a high standard for it. If it manages to surprise me, I'll be happy. I will be,
yeah.
but God, I don't know if it will. But anyway,
Yeah, the one I'm looking forward to next from them is Blue Beetle, just because I like the character. I think it's kind of fun. But that being said, I just don't know if they're going to be able to get it right. Like,
yeah, no, again, I'm a bit about it. But anyway, so we want to say a big thank you to everyone for following, subscribing. Please make sure
all
you
the
do
stuff that
share.
Derek's never going to remember.
Yes, it is very useful to us. It allows the algorithms and various platforms to know that we are being watched. So thank you very much
Yeah.
for that. Make sure you leave comments and reasons about why we're wrong down below, or why we're right,
Yep.
or why I'm right, especially. Uh,
Jordan likes to be right, so
like
make
to be
sure
right.
he's
I do
there.
like to be right. But we want to say much love, much thank you. Please sure you do follow us on all the good podcast software, and you can see our beautiful faces available on Spotify as well as YouTube. And you can follow us on our socials and Twitter and TikTok at Dorks. Everything is at Dorks Down Under. Or maybe Dorks Down Under podcast, possibly on one of them. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, I think there's one of them where we didn't get Dorks Down Under. I don't know how somebody stole it.
How the
but I'm
hell
like,
someone
cool.
stole Dorks Down Under? I have no idea, but anyway, because that's three unique words, quite frankly, put together, in my opinion. But anyway.
I was quite chuffed when I came up with it. That's why I was like, what? How does somebody
Oh no!
have
To be
it?
fair, it was just like I remember us bouncing around ideas of names, and literally when you said that one, I was like, "Yeah, that one works. I like that." Because I even got approval off the wife. She was like, "Yeah, that one works." I went, "Great, fab."
Yeah.
But anyway, much love, people. Thank you. Peace out, and stay tuned for our next episode.
Layers.
Laters.